So I'm Oli Greck, writer-director of Wrapped in Celluloid. And yeah, you know.
Yeah, I guess what is Wrapped in Celluloid about in your own words?
It's really about a photographer that wants to shoot on film. He wants to make a film. He buys an old, dusty and worn camera. And really, you know, it finds out it's possessed.
Yeah, and there's its own twists and turns, so to speak, with that character itself. You mentioned early in the Q&A that a large motivation to do the film was you wanted to shoot on film yourself. Talk to me about, was that where the idea stemmed from, and how were the practicalities of shooting on film?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote the film. I wrote kind of a version of this film 10 years ago when I wanted to shoot on film. Back then, kind of less people that were making short films were shooting on film, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to try and do something on film, and for it not to be like the whole film. You know, if you're making a film and it's like 10-20 minutes, preferably, in my opinion, I kind of wanted to shoot it as little on film as possible. So the idea was around you shoot most of the film on digital, and then part of the film on film, and it was like a fun way of being able to deal with kind of have a look at the past, you know. Even though film is very present as well, you know, but that was a film I wrote 10 years ago, and probably about 3 years ago returned to the idea and wrote a completely different film, which is what we see today.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What were some of the changes from the earlier script?
There's things which remain, such as the like the floating camera that remained, and some other little pieces here and there, but overall kind of the main thing was bringing it to one room. Because it's a film which is really, it's a sequence. It's like it's a continuous sequence, and that's the film I originally wrote was it was many locations. It was a lot bigger in terms of scale, and I wanted to bring it. I wanted to bring it to like one room was the main thing for this, you know, and do a suspense film.
Yeah, I think that's great for short films to have that one location and as well one object, I guess, of interest as well. In terms of shooting on film and then shooting digital, going back and forth, it was very clean, I must say, very very crisp in the edit. Talk to me about the editing of that.
It's kind of already done by the time I've shot it, because, you know, I storyboard every shot. So really the film's cut at that point, you know. So the post-production process is more kind of a process of playing with the mix, maybe being surprised in certain places. That's kind of what you're hoping for. And really focusing on the sound and the music and all of those other elements which make it a film. You know?
I particularly like two things about it. One thing is incredible makeup, I guess, you know.
So
with the makeup and the ghoulish figures that appear. They all look so great, but that sort of black and white cinematography, there's a beauty to that, you know, with the lighting and everything, with the, especially when you have that distinction, you know, when you're in, I guess, the real world, and then you go back into the phantom world, and how different everything looks. What was it like lighting that? What was it like working with your cinematographer? Were you the cinematographer on this?
No, we had a cinematographer at Hero. It's kind of. I think kind of it's the type of film when you've got the room lit, you know, you can kind of just shoot, you know, and that's kind of the thing. You know, there's some minor tweaks here and there, but you know, you really just shoot. And for the amount we had to shoot, because it's a suspense film and it was kind of suspense through editing, we did have quite a lot of shots to get. For the amount of time we had to shoot, it was probably too many shots. So you're really trying to, you got to be efficient. You know, so kind of moving lights for every single completely different lighting setups wouldn't work. So thankfully, you know, the DOP of this film, Piero, pulled it off, and you know, we managed to, you know, get all the shots we needed to make the film.
Brilliant. I guess you mentioned one of the most I guess iconic moments was the floating camera, right? That was incredible to see pulled off, as well as the camera moving by itself. I mean, great stuff. Peel behind the curtain a little bit, if you are willing to. How did you achieve those two moments in the film?
The floating camera is a composite There's the funny thing is kind of that the more complex. It's actually probably it's very simple visual effects, really. Because essentially you're holding a camera on a green screen and then sticking that into the film. There's about 25 VFX shots in the film, and 24 of them you won't notice. You know,
Really?
That's the thing, you won't notice them. So and I think that's kind of when VFX works really well, is when you don't know it's happening. We capture everything in camera, but there are 25 VFX shots in the film, and you won't notice most of them.
Brilliant. I guess just being at the festival and the journey of Wrapped in Celluloid, what was it like seeing it on a IMAX screen up there, and how has the journey with this film been so far?
It's always great watching it with people. Watching it on a nice big screen is always great. You kind of want it to be as loud as possible, so that's always nice as well. This festival was great. I've been there before, and they're always really good and really friendly, caring for the filmmakers. So that's always great. But yeah, I suppose with festivals in general, it's really about watching it with people, getting that immediate reaction. And it's a big old exercise, so learning is always kind of the main thing, I would say.
Brilliant. And what's next for yourself? How can people keep up to date with you?
Yeah, follow our Instagram. I've got a production company, Eyes to Film. We could be found on Instagram at official Eyes to Film. So yeah, I'd recommend checking that out. And this film's going to be playing for the next year in festivals, so keep an eye out for it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Oli.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.